The Buddhist Breath Meditation, Anapana Sati. Sitting posture. It is necessary to sit in a way that is stable and secure, so that when the mind is semi-conscious we will not fall over. Be able to sit just like a pyramid. Pyramids cannot fall over because they have a very solid base and sides that rise up into a central pinnacle. There is no way that they can fall down. Consider how long the pyramids in Egypt have been sitting. Learn to sit like a pyramid. The best way to do this is to sit cross-legged. Put your legs out in front of you, then pull the right foot up onto the left thigh and the left foot up onto the right thigh. It is also important to sit upright with the vertebrae and spine in proper alignment without any bends or curves. The vertebrae should sit snugly on top of each other so that they fit together properly. Following the breath with mindfulness. The counting stage, when the attention is fixed on the point of touch divided by and the attempt is made to fix the attention on the breath by counting guttis, is the first stage of the first tetrad of the sutta. In this stage, the main work is to overcome the mind's habit of repeatedly wandering off from the object of attention to other objects, and it is for this purpose that the method of counting is adopted. The time is not yet ripe for perceiving the long and short breaths, but in accordance with the text of the sutta, a yogi mindfully exhales an out-breath, and mindfully inhales an in divided by effort must be confined to keeping the attention fixed on the out-breath and in-breath. First place the attention on the aspect of touch divided by and when an out-breath or in-breath is clearly perceived, count un dot divided by continue counting o two comma divided by a three comma divided by a four comma divided by etc., when the ensuing out-breaths and in-breaths are clearly perceived. If any of them are not clearly perceived, stop the progressive 30 counting by continuing to count un comma divided by un comma divided by un comma divided by etc., until the next clear perception of out-breath and in-breath, when the counting advances to o2 dot divided by. When the count reaches a 5 divided by in the first turn, start again from 1. Proceed in this way until the 6th turn is completed. Since only those breaths that are clearly perceived are counted, it is called the slow count. When the counting has been done repeatedly many times, the number of breaths that are clearly perceived will increase. The spacing between each progressive count will decrease. In this particular, the commentary says, the sole function of counting is to cut short the 36 wandering tendencies of the mind, acquired in the long series of previous rebirths, that makes it stray from inside the body to outside objects, and to keep the attention firmly fixed on the internal objects of out-breath and in-breath. After the counting stage, when the connection stage is reached, effort must be put forth according to the second stage of the first tetrad, described thus in the text. When a long out-breath is exhaled, he knows that he exhales a long out-breath. When a long in-breath is inhaled, he knows that he inhales a long in-breath. Divided by here, attention has to be fixed on the aspect of touch divided by and with the attention so fixed, the long and short breaths have to be perceived. In doing this, it is not necessary to trace the entire breath from beginning to end. All one must do, while keeping the attention fixed on the aspect of touch divided by, is to make an additional endeavor to be aware of the length of the breaths that brush the aspect of touch divided by. Long breaths brush the spot for a long period, while short breaths brush the spot for a short period. The mind can become extremely expansive, and thus one can be aware of the long breaths and short breaths that go out and come in even while keeping one's attention steadily fixed on the aspect of touch divided by. 1. Perceiving the mind divided by means entering the 4 jhanas repeatedly in order to make the perception of the mind extremely clear. 2. Making the mind extremely delighted divided by means that when the perception of the mind is extremely clear, one makes the mind extremely delighted by repeatedly entering the first and second jhanas. 3. Making the mind extremely concentrated divided by means that when the mind is extremely delighted, one makes the mind extremely concentrated by entering the third and fourth jhanas. 4. Freeing the mind divided by means freeing the mind of obstacles by repeatedly entering the 4 jhanas. The commentary associates this tetrad too with jhanic absorption, though it contains practices associated with the access to jhana as well. This ends the third tetrad. I shall now show the fourth tetrad, which gives the method of proceeding from mindfulness of breathing to insight, vipassana. 1. Contemplating impermanence. I will exhale and inhale, thus he trains himself. 2. Contemplating detachment, I will exhale and inhale, thus he trains himself. 3. Contemplating cessation, I will exhale and inhale, thus he trains himself. 4. Contemplating abandonment, I will exhale and inhale, thus he trains himself.